So we're into our last section, the continuous improvement section. I'm going to keep this pretty basic, pretty simple. Firstly, there are no quantum leaps forward. I didn't come across anybody who took a massive quantum leap forward, who was good at something and then suddenly woke up the next day and was world class. It doesn't work like that. And as I said at the time, all the time, we know this, right? But what we can do is make tiny little improvements on a consistent basis and over a period of time. That can add up to something huge and will inevitably add up to something huge. And it's really about reflecting and doing an accounting of the day. Okay, at the end of the day, you go, how did I perform today and how could I have been 1% better? And that's the story. That's the essence of the story that I tell for the continuous improvement story. Is this guy just looked to improve 1% better almost on a daily basis at the thing he wanted to become really good at. Now, I do this myself. You're only going to do this in areas of your life that you're actually passionate about, but every time I give a talk or I do a workshop, I have my 1% sheet. You won't be able to see this deliberately. I have today's date, I had that day's date. I have a school name here, it could be a company name, and I have 1%. And when I get home, I spend just 10 or 15 minutes going through that, thinking about how could I have been 1% better? Could I have told the stories a little bit better? Could I have interacted with the groups better? Could I have set the room up better? Room setup is really important for a good workshop. And because my brain knows I'm going to make myself fill that out, it's constantly scanning for tiny little improvements. And my brain I could be in the middle of a story, my brain will say, oh there's a 1% improvement, Stephen. And this is easy to do. It's easy to do, but the problem is it's also easy not to do. It's much easier to say, you know what, I'll look for a 2% improvement tomorrow or 3% improvement today after that. It doesn't work like that. We have to look for tiny 1% improvement on a consistent basis. And the example that I sometimes use, I don't get time most days to do it in schools, but the example that I like to use is, let's imagine we have a girl called Claire, who's a 16-year-old transition year student, and she says, look, Stephen, I'd like to be a vet, if I'm being honest, but I know you have to be really smart to be a vet, and I'm not one of the smartest in my year. I'm probably not even one of the smartest in my class. What we would say is, okay, Claire, what we're going to do is we're going to get you to try to implement this 1% improvement idea. Okay, and the reason you're doing it is not to become better, get better grades. You will get better grades with this technique, but you're doing it really to become a vet. So remember that. That's the reason why you're doing it. So all I want you to do, Claire, is I want you to study for 60 minutes each night. That's it. Just give me 60 minutes. But at the end of that 60 minutes, I want you to look for a 1% improvement in how you could have made that 60 minutes maybe 1% more efficient or 1% more productive, because we don't want you studying for 4 hours a night and burning yourself out and particularly getting nothing done. Just give me 1 hour. So you have to look for a 1% improvement at the end of each of those hours. So let's say day one, Claire sits over a 3-day period. Day one, Claire sits down, she does her 60 minutes, she looks for a 1% improvement. She might say, you know, I posted something on social media just before I did my 60 minutes, and I was really distracted. I was wondering, were people looking at the story? Were they liking it? Were they commenting on it? I was just really distracted. So my 1% improvement going forward is I'm not going to post anything on social media until after I've done my 60 minutes study session. So day two, Claire will sit down. She won't post anything on social media. She'll do her 60 minutes. She'll look for a 1% improvement, and she might say, you know what, I had nothing planned. Absolutely nothing planned. I was maybe 25 minutes into my 60-minute session before I started to do any real productive work. So my 1% improvement going forward is, as I go about my day, I'm going to make a list of the things that I want to study in my 60-minute session. So day 3, Claire sits down. She doesn't post anything on social media. She has a list of the things she's going to study in her 60-minute study session. She does her 60 minutes, she looks for a 1% improvement, and she will find something. And she'll find a 1% improvement the day after that, and a 1% improvement the day after that. And over a few weeks and a few months, she will turn the 60-minute study session into a productivity and efficiency masterpiece, where she's getting so much more done than somebody who might be sitting there for 3 hours, who thinks they're studying, but really they have a telly on in the background, they have their laptop open, they might have books around them, but they're on their phone half the time. And with this 60-minute study session, Claire, over a few months, she will take a massive jump forward in her academic ability, right? And her teachers will notice it. They'll be delighted. Her parents will notice it. They'll be delighted. She'll have grown in confidence herself. And maybe at that stage she'll say, I'm going to up it to 80 minutes a night. And I'm going to continue to look for 1% improvement. And over a period of time, Claire will not only grow in confidence and academic ability, but she'll grow in the belief that she can become a vet. And it'll take time and it'll take discipline, but it's well within her ability, because she's only looking to become a 1% improvement, make a 1% improvement each day. Now, that's Claire's scenario. Maybe if you want to be a footballer, okay, maybe or a high performer in any sport, you might have a 1% notebook. And every time you finish training or your matches, you'll come in and you'll write into your 1% notebook, how could I have been 1% better? Okay, and what will happen is eventually you'll reach the brink of your actual own knowledge of the game, of whatever sport it is, and then you'll have to solicit advice to continue to improve 1% better. You might have to say to teammates, how could I have been a little bit better? Or your coaches, you'll be able to say to them, how could I have been 1% better? Because they can see the fuller picture. Or maybe you'll go and you'll watch your heroes perform, and you'll see what do my heroes do when they're in the positions where maybe I've messed up, and how could I get a little bit more like them? Maybe if you want to be a musician, right? Every time you finish practicing, you're thinking, how could I have been 1% better? And music is a really good one because it gives you good sort of instant feedback. If I'm playing the guitar and I play a wrong note, I can instantly hear it and I can course correct. And then as I get better and better, I can go online, I can find YouTube tutorials of people who are playing things that are above my ability, and I can go, right, I'm going to slowly, step by step, follow the instructions that this person has. And this is really, it's a long-term strategy, but it's the strategy that's implemented by people who become high achievers in particular fields. They don't become high achievers. They don't develop skills and abilities overnight. It's over a long period of time. And it's not a big, massive effort, for a few days or for a few weeks. It's a continuous effort, right? That's within our, ability, it's within our control, but it's done over a long period of time. So take some time, think about what skills do I really want to develop, have it within line of your bigger visions, and then take the time to come up with these practices. Right? When am I going to look for my 1% improvement? Maybe you'll do it after you brush your teeth at night. You'll sit down with your notebook and you'll really ponder. Right, let's go through this, write down some notes. And then from the learnings, right, make sure you take those learnings and you implement them in your practice the next day. And that's the section.